been sunny skies here in the Coulee region. So let's send it over to Greg to see how the conditions will be for those who are still traveling.
Yeah, we got probably problems over here that could actually be worse than any other problems here is that dense fog that can really ground types of aircraft with IFR or even less than IFR conditions at airports. So we're going to have that around the area throughout the next 64 hours, or excuse me, 36 hours. So it could impact any flight traveling and it could impact actually driving too. But right now we have a lot of moisture, warm air being streamed to the south as that system really begins to develop towards the Oklahoma area. It's still way down there yet, but we're getting some moisture ahead of it along with south flow that's ahead of it too to give us some milder conditions. So that's the system we're tracking. We got a system out to the west that won't play much of a factor. It's that one down to the south that's really going to bring our rainfall and these basically mild conditions throughout through Saturday morning. Overall, we still got dense fog and drizzle. There'll be some areas of light rain. It won't amount to too much overnight. And even tomorrow morning through about the early afternoon, the rain amounts will be fairly light. It'll really be the fog will be the story. But the morning commute, dense fog. And then for the PM commute, it's going to be really steady rainfall. That could be light to even moderate rainfall. So very wet for the PM commute. Activities outside, it's going to be wet Friday evening, and that could extend all the way through early Saturday morning, too. Temperatures tomorrow will continue to rise overnight. These are the highs for tomorrow. We could have some mid-40s out there, upper 30s in some certain areas, but in the morning hour, be about upper 30s by the time we get to the midday, probably mid 40s. So, and then as you go to Saturday, we got a little bit of break. We have some sun in the afternoon, but look at these temperatures mid to maybe even upper 40s as the sun comes out in the afternoon. We could still see a little bit of rain or snow in the morning hour. I'll track that out in a few minutes here, but otherwise it's still going to be fairly mild. And then Sunday looks dry, cloud cover, temperatures a few degrees cooler, but still above average for this time of year. So most of the weekend looks overall good and mild, but the first half of Saturday we could contend with some precipitation. And overnight, as I mentioned, just areas of light rain occasionally pushing across. Once again, mounts maybe 100th or 200th these pass through. That'll continue through the morning commute, so some might get a little wet, other ones won't. By the time we get to 5 to 6, we got a little bit of an area towards I-94 stretching back to Minneapolis. Temperatures getting back up to upper 30s near 40, so that'll continue. Most of the morning will be a little bit probably dry for a lot of areas minus the fog. It's the activity begins to really pick up in the afternoon. You'll see this area begin to just cover with just light to moderate rainfall, and it expands in coverage after about 3 p.m. And then by 4, you're looking at areas south La Crosse, really steady light to moderate rainfall. Eau Claire probably after 4 to 5, and then the whole area gets encompassed by about 5 to 6. So the evening commute's definitely going to be wet as this low begins to push up towards the area. In fact, it'll continue overnight. We might see a little bit of a break as the low gets really, you can see the turning right there towards we get late in the night, but overall it's going to be wet. Rain amounts through about 10 a.m. tomorrow, not a lot. Maybe a tenth. Some of the areas further south could get probably closer to a quarter, but fairly light amounts going into tomorrow morning. It's really as we go towards tomorrow evening and Friday night that we really start picking up the rainfall. In fact, we could see areas pick up 3/4, areas to the west, potentially an inch. So we could set some actually daytime rainfall records with this amount of precipitation. It will, as I mentioned, could mix in with a little snow. Right there you can see it towards Saturday morning. Cooler air wraps around, so maybe down to I-94 you might see a little bit of snow mixing in. Otherwise that gets through the east, and we do see a little clearing going into Saturday afternoon and some drier conditions, and the sun eventually comes out. Good news, we might see a little more sun on Sunday. Still mild conditions Monday and Tuesday. The system passes to our south with a little bit of snow potential there. Otherwise, we're going to get back to where we should be with those mid-20s as we start the new year. So another colder temperatures, but at that point, that's kind of where we should be. So it's going to be like we call it like pea soup for the next probably 24 hours out there.
Yeah, I want to keep in mind that fog, especially for people going to be on the roads. Maybe give yourself
flying. It's going to be a problem here for the next few days.
Yeah, if you're traveling by car, maybe give yourself some extra space just to be safe for sure. Well, thank you, Greg.